That. So my wife's grandfather had raced Age-Group, probably in the 90s, early 2000s. He passed away in 2012, and I heard all these stories. I'd known him, but only for a couple of years at the time. He had Parkinson's, which was a shame to see. And I'd heard all these stories, and I remember thinking, God, how can I live up to this guy? He's raced for his country.
And that's the voice of today's guest, Jonathan Holden. Jonathan is a dedicated GB Agegroup triathlete and aquabike athlete. From being inspired by his wife's granddad and working tirelessly to get to where he's got to, which can't be easy with a young family and a full-time professional job as a solicitor. But it just shows with dedication, consistency, and a real love for the sport, it just shows what can be done. As usual, we chat about how he got started, his experiences representing GB, and how his training and sport in general has really helped him mentally over the years to just push through and get over the sad times that happened to us all. Really enjoyed chatting to Jonathan. He's got a great story, really nice guy. So whether you're chasing qualification, if you're looking for motivation, or you just love hearing these stories from behind the scenes of these athletes, I hope you sit back and enjoy this episode. Welcome back to the Agegroup Multisport podcast, the home of Agegroup Multisport. Personally, I've had quite a good week, well, a good fortnight since the last one went out. I did a cross country a couple of Sundays ago, and that was amazing because the weather was fantastic. It was like a spring afternoon. Did relatively okay, got round, and was quite pleased with my time considering. Mrs. C's just completed the York Marathon yesterday as I'm sat down here on a Monday morning recording the introduction to this podcast, and yeah, she smashed it. Bless her, she's suffering a little bit this morning going off to work, but that's to be expected, isn't it? It's a long, long way. So a big congratulations to her and everybody else who did the York Marathon yesterday. What a great achievement that is. Winter training for me personally is going really well. I'm on week 5 of my ChatGPT winter training plan. If you haven't seen what I've been up to, you can find all the videos on our YouTube channel, which is AmpGB. And yeah, I've asked ChatGPT to, with my input obviously, to come up with a winter training plan and mixed it up by putting some high rocks in there because that seems to be the flavour of the month. And I've got to say, I'm quite enjoying it. I thought I'd put the high rocks element in there just to mix it up and keep winter training fun and interesting. And I was also inspired by guest we had on a couple of episodes ago, Alex Wright, and also a couple of the other age group guys who've been on here, which is Matt Warren and Robert Myler, who Robert, as I've probably said before, he competes, and I think Matt is just about to do his first High Rocks competition if he hasn't already. So good luck and well done, guys, because I've got to say, since I've put it in, it has added some fun to the training. I do really enjoy doing it. So that's my winter training videos that I'm currently doing. I've also done another video, and I'm starting a series of videos about winter training triathlon tips, which will help over the winter time. The first one's out now, and it's about getting your swim stroke analysed, so have a look out for that. Something that me and Mrs. C have done over the years and continue to do so, and it's well worth doing for anybody who wants to improve the swimming over the winter time, which is the best time to do it. Couple of podcast recommendations as always. The first one is light-hearted. It's from the Runner's World podcast, and they were looking at Spotify's best songs to run at, and I think they just did the top 10, to be honest, and they were just giving their thoughts on what they were, and some of the songs that they actually use on their playlist. So that was a light-hearted podcast to listen to, well worth a listen. And the second one was from the Huberman Lab, and it was featuring Dr. Poppy Crum, who is a professor at Stanford, and she worked actually for Dolby Laboratories, an expert in neuroplasticity. It's our brain's ability to change in response to experience. And they were chatting about ways to learn faster and ways to leverage your smartphone AI and even video games to help. So a really interesting podcast on the uses of technology in learning. Really enjoyed it. So check those two out. Really worthwhile having a listen. And then a big well done to all the age groupers who were over there in Wollongong, Australia. It looked to be an absolutely fabulous event, a lovely setting, and from all accounts, from what people have said, it was a fantastically organised race, one of the best ones that some people have ever experienced. Massive well done to my coach and friend and teammate Steve Hunt, who was over there racing both in the sprint and the standard distance triathlon, and they were back to back, so he did really well to pull it off, considering just over 12 months ago he had crashed his bike and had a fractured hip, and also while he was in getting surgery done on it, he had metal plates in and screws and all sorts. He had blood clot, not just in one lung but in both of his lungs, and we were really worried about him. And it just shows the tenacity and with consistency and the desire to get back, anything's possible. And he's a legend in our club, and just goes to show what can be done. So congratulations to Steve for doing that. And then just a few more mentions for the guests that we've had on the podcast that were over there racing. And the first one's to John Armstrong. And well done, John, on your Aquabike performance. I hope you've had a great experience and a great time. Well done to David Pearson from Age Group News and My Tri Ranking. He was over there racing also. It was Michael Donnelly, Rebecca Spears and Gemma Berry, who've all been guests on the podcast. I hope you all had a fabulous time, and if I've missed anybody, I do apologise. These are just the people that came up on the social media that I follow, and have seen the highlights of their experience over there in Oz. So yeah, it just seemed to be a fantastic festival of triathlon, so I'm really pleased that everybody enjoyed it. Right, now time for the main event. Hope you enjoy Jonathan's story. We shall see you on the other side. Thank you ever so much for taking your time out in your day and agreeing to come on, because I'm always looking for guests. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to get. You might be surprised, but it isn't. So thank you, much appreciated. And if you'd just like to introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from.
So Jonathan Holden, I'm by profession, I'm a solicitor. I'm from the Ribble Valley in Lancashire.
So how's it over there for triathlon then? What's it?
It's good in Lancashire for triathlon. Actually, we do pretty well. There's a company called Epic Events that put a lot of triathlons on. Obviously, I'm an hour away from the Lake District. I'm an hour and a bit away from North Wales, Chester. Sometimes there's stuff in Manchester. So you've got a good option to do something anywhere you like, really. Bolton Ironman was obviously on up here for years and years and years. So the triathlon scene, if you will, historically has been really strong, and you get some really good athletes at races. I think it's gone down a bit in terms of attendance over the last couple of years, but that's not just around here. I think that's everywhere. When I look around in our triathlon club, Tri Preston, we don't seem to have as many people doing as much as they used to. But it's an expensive game, isn't it? As you know,
Yeah,
It,
it's not cheap, is it?
it's
And
not getting any
it,
cheaper.
I think it takes a certain mindset as well to do three sports other than one.
Yeah, yeah. You do see a lot of people, don't you, that come into it, right, I'm going to go and do an Ironman and then I'm going to quit,
Yeah,
which to me is just absolutely fine, fair enough, but I don't really understand that mentality.
yeah,
Um, but then that's just because I got the bug. So
yeah. I think, and I always say it on the podcast, it's a lifestyle. It's
yeah,
not it's not just that, oh, I'm going to go and do an Ironman or whatever. You start it and you get into it and it just becomes part of your life and you miss certain aspects of it when you can't do them, if you're injured or whatever, or it gets taken away from you, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it just does become a lifestyle and that's what you do. It's what you
yeah. You don't really think twice about some of the training sessions, do you? You know, so this morning I got up, logged on early doors, 7 o'clock, did an hour or so before the kids went to school, and then got out for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours on the bike. I didn't really think about it. It was just
yeah,
like, oh, that's what I do. It's a
yeah,
Friday, so it's not as busy at work as it might be. So I've got a bit more time on my hands. So take advantage of it. And then I think when you come back to your point about lifestyle, that's exactly how it fits in.
yeah.
I've also got that terrible fear that if I stop, I'm going to put about 10 stone on, not fit into anything, and
Well, there is that
I'll be
side of it, and that's what I mean by it being a lifestyle. It's a healthy lifestyle, and it's keeping the wolf from the door, really, isn't it? In that
yeah,
sense, because
absolutely,
you're so active, and you obviously all the other things that go around that. You want to get good sleep, and all the things that the pillars that you need to have a good life and have a good longevity. Really,
yeah.
it just fits in that mold. So yeah,
And I think for me, it's definitely massively helps mental health wise.
yeah,
You know, I know if I've had a stressful day at work or not feeling 100%, going for a run on the trails, for example, just works.
yeah.
Swimming is always the one. If I've got a work problem, right, I'll just head down to the pool, do a session, completely tune out. It's the
Mm.
one time is for me swimming when the phone can't go.
Yeah,
So, having
yeah.
that 40 minutes to an hour or whatever and just thinking things through
Mm,
at the same time as you're training, but because once you've done it long enough, you don't really have to focus on the training session, do you? You just go through that and you get the headspace to resolve what it is you need to resolve. And certainly, I find that from a problem solving perspective is really really useful.
mm.
So yeah, definitely fits in for me.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. The mental aspect of it isn't something that's thought about much or talked
No,
about much, is it? And it is. It's a great release, isn't it?
yeah, I mean it's really important for me. I got into exercise, so I had a son that passed away when he was very young, and I got into exercise as a means of dealing with that, not consciously, but when I reflect back, that's
Mm,
what I did.
mm,
And then that kind of rolled into triathlon, and I definitely think without it, I would have really really struggled. It just gives you that space, that kick as well.
mm,
When you finish the race, you go and finish a long ride, that endorphin rush,
mm,
which becomes an addiction in and of itself, almost,
mm.
doesn't it?
But it's a good
Um,
addiction, isn't it?
yeah, it's a healthy one.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely think that has been really important for me in keeping me on the straight and narrow, for want of a better phrase.
yeah,
Um, and just having that ability to spend time on your own. And yeah, I'm not always the most social trainer. I'm very, very happy doing it
mm,
solo. Got a relatively young family, so going out for a group ride for 4 hours on a Saturday is not the most popular expedition. So,
mm,
but yeah, I'm quite happy doing it solo and just get it done and bit of time out you're just in the fresh air, you're in the
yeah,
countryside. I'm really lucky where I live. We're out in the country. I could probably design 100-mile route without a traffic light if I wanted to.
yeah.
Plenty of sheep and tractors and stuff, but so it is. I do know that's unusual for a lot of people. So yeah, it's good. And I've done triathlon since 2012, May 2012, probably about the 20th was my first race. If I was trying to remember when it was. yeah, very, very hungover, having been on a work event the night before. And I remember making the mistake of putting the number on a t-shirt and then fastening it to the front and the back. So it was a very glorious start to a triathlon experience. So yeah, all fun.
And what did you do growing up as a kid, sport wise?
Sporting wise, not very much.
Hmm.
I swam from a very young age. Actually, I've got asthma, so they encouraged swimming. I remember being really vague memories of being on something called the A team and meeting Duncan, what's his face, the bald guy.
Oh, don't good
Um,
you.
that's him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think so. From a young age, I did that. Swam competitively for a couple of swimming clubs until I was probably 16, and then zero. Um, so I discovered the fairer sex and booze, and I did very, very little. I used to sail quite a bit when I was at school as well.
Right.
But then, sporting wise, after that, it really went out the window
Hmm.
until I played cricket after I left university for about 5 or 6 years.
Right.
Might have been a little bit longer than that. But I developed a problem with my shoulder. So I was a bowler, a
No.
mediocre one. But one of the last games of cricket I played, the umpire actually said, "You need to go and see someone because it sounds like there's a bullet going off every time you're bowling. It sounds like it's a machine gun."
Wow.
So I went to see a physio and they said, "Yeah, well, if you want to fix that, you'll have to have surgery and everything." And I just thought, well, I'm not enjoying cricket enough for that. And at the time, we just had my daughter who's 11 now, or around that time. I'm getting slightly mixed up, but it was the time commitment of being out all day on a Saturday and a Sunday. It actually puts triathlon to shame a little bit with that on a weekend. And in Lancashire, being out all day Saturday and a Sunday playing cards in a changing room, watching it rain is, the majority of your time. So I've not really done any endurance sport to speak at all. We sponsored a 5K at work, so we got a few places from that. I remember doing that probably like 2011, doing like 29 minutes for a 5K and thinking I was king of the world, but when in my mind I was at that time, I suppose. Um, then what one of my friends was doing Chester Half Marathon. So it was like, can you do this? We also sponsor a 10K every year at work in between Christmas and New Year. So I was like, well, I'll do that 10K, I'll do the half marathon, and I'll see how we go. How triathlon came about that. So my wife's grandfather had raced Age-Group, probably in the 90s, early 2000s. He passed away in 2012,
Hmm.
and I heard all these stories. I'd known him, but only for a couple of years at the
Hmm.
time. He had Parkinson's, which was a shame to see. And I'd heard all these stories, and I remember thinking, God, how can I live up to this guy? He's raced for his country. But then locally, there was St. Anne's Triathlon came up on a website, and I thought, well, I'll buy a bike. I'd always wanted to. I'd always enjoyed riding my bikes, so I thought, oh well, I'll buy a road bike. And I still remember being in the big ring, going up a hill, not knowing how to change bike down. And it's a hill I go up all the time now because it's close to home, and yeah, it's always like how far you can come. Um, so I did the St. Anne's Tri was my first one. Um, Sprint triathlon, 400 meters, pool swim, 20K bike, 5K run. Absolutely loved it and just got the bug from there. Where can I go next? Did some more sprints, did my first standard distance at Coniston Triathlon,
Hmm.
which was quite a hilly one, was up in the lakes, but beautiful spot. Swimming
Hmm.
in Lake Coniston was great. And then joined Tri Preston, which is when I really started to get to know other people.
Yeah.
Um, so I think we had two or three qualify for GB Agegroup in that first year that I was with the club. But I'll be honest, I thought it was an unachievable
Hmm.
thing. Um, very much so. I remember chatting to a club mate after an open swim session, saying like, "How have they done it? Are these it was two lads and a lady. Are these like out of this world athletes? And they weren't very good, but it is possible. You've got to look at your age group, and then
Mm.
I would say I part that as an idea for realistically till 2018, 2019. That's when I started to think maybe I'd have half a chance.
Yeah.
And it was at Lakesman Try, and I remember coming back in off the bike. And it wasn't a scattered start. Everyone started at the same time. It was a middle distance triathlon, and starting off on the run and thinking, hang on, there's not that many bikes in transition here. And then you get back and you do the maths on where have you finished as opposed to someone else. And I realised I wasn't good enough on the run to be able to get in for pure triathlon, but I was within the percentage to get in for Aquabike.
Ah, right. Yeah.
And then just the lure of the GB kit took over. I was like, oh, well, that might be a cool thing to do.
Mm.
Um,
Plus,
so,
plus you had the history with your wife's granddad as
yeah,
well. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
like that.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to stop your flow there, but I was
no,
just
no,
thinking about because you sort of like went, and I like that when you just get
yeah,
into the rhythm. But I was
yeah,
thinking about it's like the perfect storm, isn't it? Because you swam when you were a kid. So,
yeah.
even though you hadn't
I held the
swam for a while,
basics.
tipped off, you've got the technique, that's done.
Yeah,
You get back into the pool, and that's, once you'd done a bit, I'm sure it came
yeah.
back and it
The
was easy.
first few
Yeah.
times weren't easy. So I remember thinking, oh, 400 meters is nothing compared to what I would swim when I was swimming for the club. 3, 4 training sessions a week plus a
Exactly.
gala.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's serious volume, but the body changes from when you're 15, doesn't it? And I remember trying to do 16 lengths in the pool, freestyle, and yeah, really out of breath. But what I knew I had was the technique. And when you talk to people about triathlon, the swim's the thing that puts everyone off. Um, Non-triathletes will always say to me, I can do the bike and the run, but I can't do the swim. I mean, I kind of think, sure you can do the bike and the run either, to be frank. But with some of them,
Harsh.
yeah, it depends who it is. But I knew that I had the technique, and I knew it's just a patience game, isn't it? You've got to build it up.
Yeah.
Um, and it definitely helped to have that background.
Mm.
Um, Growing up, my granddad, not my wife's granddad, was also always a keen cyclist, and my dad was.
Ah.
So I've been around
Yeah. Yeah.
in the background. I've been
Yeah.
around bikes. I had a road bike when I was a kid, when most kids had a mountain bike.
Mm.
So I had, even though I didn't cycle loads, I had the kind of institutional knowledge. I was being taught how to change a puncture on a tire at age 6. That sort of thing, which it's only when you look back in hindsight that you
Mm.
think, oh yeah, it does all come
Because
together
yeah,
sometimes.
there is those things, isn't there? Like I said, you're swimming, and what you've just said about the biking, and then
Yeah,
your wife's granddad.
yeah, yeah. That was
Just
definitely an
setting that
inspiration.
seed, isn't it? And seeing somebody
Oh
like
gosh,
that
yeah,
age inspiring you. And you
yeah,
might not have thought about it at the time, but it obviously did strike a chord, didn't it? And it was something that you thought, yeah,
yeah. And it was one of the things that I was proud about to tell my wife's grandma when I
yeah,
qualified for Great Britain.
yeah, yeah,
Say, look, I've
yeah.
done this, and it was she was brilliant actually. She's gone downhill a little bit now, with dementia and things. But when I started off in triathlon, she used to come a lot. So she'd
Yeah.
come with us in the
She would have
car, and
loved
she'd
it.
sit at
It
the
would
side
have
of it.
meant so
Yeah,
much to her.
yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah,
And yeah, it was a really nice time to see her, jumping in the car with us, and and
yeah.
and traveling around, wherever we were
And
going.
it's
And
those memories you've made there that if you hadn't
oh
have done
yeah,
what you've done, that might not have never happened, and you might not have been as close as you were. And you know what I mean? It's
no, that's it.
all those things. These are the side benefits that you get from you doing this sport, isn't it?
I distinctly remember she came with me to a sprint triathlon in Rosendale. If you're ever doing that, don't make sure you've got your climbing legs in, by the way. And she was chatting to more people than I was. She knew them all,
Yeah,
because people stay in the
exactly.
sport for a long time, don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah,
Especially locally. And I remember, yeah, it was like, oh God, I'm with almost a local celeb here. It's brilliant.
Yeah, fab.
Um,
So just going on from, because obviously you said you did your first sprint try and then we're backtracking a little bit, but how
yeah,
did that progress? You're obviously in a club. How did that
yeah.
culminate? You were talking about you'd done a sprint, then you went to standard. How did the transition go, like from your first one to standard and open water, and just fill in that gap?
Yeah, yeah. So did a couple of sprints in the first year that I was doing it. I probably did like 4 or 5 by the end of the year. Then it gets to this time of year, doesn't it? You start thinking, oh, I wonder what I can do next year. That's when I decided to join the club because I knew that I wanted a bit more structure. I kind of knew what I was doing, I thought, but in reality, you don't, do you? You know, when you look back at what training sessions you were doing, I distinctly remember thinking, oh, I'm doing 3 or 4 sessions a week here. That's going to be loads. When of course, in reality, probably got mates that do 3 sessions a day somewhere.
Yeah,
Uh, so I decided to join the club, which was, beneficial. I also had been looking at people at races, thinking, oh, they're in like club kit, and that looks nice. Um, a couple of people joined the club at the similar time to me who live locally, so then you've got someone else to chat to, go riding locally. Although I joined Preston Triathlon Club, that Preston's about 25 minutes away from where I work.
mm,
Sorry, from where I live.
mm,
It's near where I work, so I could get 3 kids. I could get to the sessions after work a lot easier. Um, and the progression to open water wasn't one that phased me at all, if I'm
right.
honest. Most standard, I knew I wanted to do a standard distance, and obviously that normally involves no pool, doesn't it?
Mm,
So at the time, once I got over not being able to do 16 lengths, I quickly realised that swimming was my strength. When I was comparing times, and you know, if people tell you they don't spend hours looking at the results of them and other people, they're not telling you the truth. So I quickly realised that actually to have a longer swim means I'm gonna spend a bit more time not getting caught. Because I would say the first few years of my triathlon experience were feeling brilliant coming out of the water in the top group, and then watching everyone sail past me on the bike. Is definitely the bike for me that would took the longest. It was the
mm,
hardest nut to crack in terms of getting up to anything half decent.
mm,
Um, Running wasn't too bad. Um, I'm not the best runner by any stretch of the imagination, but it's the end of the race. You always get it done. You get it finished.
mm.
That tends to be my approach to it. So I'd done Coniston, which was hilly but really good. I think I probably then moved on to Ripon because it was a Saturday afternoon race. I hate the Sunday morning starts. I can't even after all these years. I still don't like the getting up at 4 a.m. trying to eat porridge and stuff. I don't know how people can do it all the time. So yeah, Ripon Saturday afternoon race, perfect for me.
Yeah.
About an hour and a half away in the car, and yeah, love that. And then probably after a few years, the club we were really vibrant at this time, so that would have been 2015, 2016. We got about 30 of us entered into Outlaw half in Nottingham. So we'd all been chatting about it, and I said, "Oh, go on, I'll give it a go." And at that point, I started getting a coach because I thought I can get through these standard distance ones. This is a different kettle of fish entirely, really. Um, and it was good to have structure to the plan. I've had 2 or 3 different coaches over the years, and um, I find them useful for a time period,
Mhm.
and then I get annoyed with being told what to do. That's just my personality.
It's funny,
So
isn't it? Because some people like a coach just to get them through, like you just said.
yeah,
And then other people like a coach because it takes all the work and the thinking out of it. And especially somebody like yourself who's, a professional. They've got
yeah.
enough going on anyway. Just give me what I need to do, put it on training peaks and I'll go and do it. I don't have to think
Yeah,
about it. So there's all different reasons, isn't there, to get a coach. But that makes me
there
laugh
is.
when
Yeah.
you don't like being told what to do.
No, I
I
don't.
like that.
Genuinely get to the stage and I'll look and I think all coaches are the same, and I hope that they don't mind me saying this. They look at your time available and they think, yeah, but I'll just shove an extra gym session on as well, and it just suddenly becomes more and more and more. I think it's a natural tendency. Is they want you to do well, don't they?
Of course they do. Yeah, it's their reputation on the line at the end of the day.
Absolutely,
Well, a good
absolutely.
coach, I mean, a good coach in my mind should be, led by the time available that you've got, and
Yeah,
use you as you're an individual. You can't give
yeah.
everybody the same stuff, can you? You know what I mean?
No, no, and I don't think any of them that I've had have done that.
Mm.
My job is unpredictable, so that doesn't help. So I can be, have a relatively straightforward week one week and then do, 60-hour week the week after. So
Mm.
you've got to have that flexibility. And I mean, it is really hard to predict sometimes how things are going to pan out. And I think over the years I've got easier at not stressing too much about missing training sessions sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's the key, isn't it? Just, if you miss, you miss. It's not life and death, is it? It's not. It's
And
we do this for fun at the end of the day, and I think you've got to remember that and don't lose sight of that.
And yeah, I'm totally with you. I used to stress about it more. I did, and then it becomes something else to worry about. Um, and like everyone, with enough things to worry about in normal life, as it were, was to start worrying about this.
Mm.
So I'm. You don't want to miss every session, but I've got a lot more relaxed in.
Yeah.
If I've got to miss for whatever reason, I've got to miss. The ones that I get mad with are the ones where I've just not been bothered.
Mm.
Um, and oh, I had that extra job at work, and yeah, really, did you have that extra job at work that needed doing right then? Could you have got down the pool? Then that's when I get annoyed with myself. But it's all part and parcel of what you were saying. It's all part parcel of the lifestyle, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think you've got to give yourself some grace as well, haven't you? Because if
Mm,
you're feeling that mentally, then you've got to take that and say, well, this is how I'm feeling. I've got,
yeah,
I didn't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it. I'll do it when I'm in a better frame of mind, and I'll go and actually make it count, as opposed to just
yeah.
going not feeling like it and just turning up and going through the motions. Well, you may as well not bother, had you?
I
You're
think,
better off just to stop and say, right, that's it. And it also
yeah,
depends on where you are in the season, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
yeah,
If
absolutely,
it's like coming up to race time, then yeah, you need to give yourself a kick up the backside. If it's
yeah,
now, winter time,
yeah.
you know,
Take it easy
give
and
yourself,
enjoy
yeah,
yourself.
give yourself
Do
some grace.
something different.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, give yourself that leeway. I think the other thing is that once you've been doing it for a long time, and 13 years for me, you realise you don't lose it that quick. So when I started, it was like, I've missed a run, I'm going to lose fitness, but actually, you don't lose it half as quick as you think. You lose a little bit you lose speed
speed. Yeah, I was just
quickly,
going to say, yeah, yeah, agree.
yeah, but base level fitness, you don't lose that quickly at all. And speed, you can recover that with a couple of good interval sessions, and you start to get back on it, don't you? So
100%. Yeah, yeah, cool. So you got into a club. You've had your own
yeah,
coach. So you're obviously now, like you said, you've got a lot of experience. You're well versed into that. So back up to the age group because we
yeah,
got to where a few people in your club were age
yeah,
groupers. So
yeah,
that then was the catalyst for you to think, I can I can maybe do this. And one thing that you said a little bit earlier on, which I've written down, about people who don't analyze results. Now, for me, I do, and I think
yeah,
tactically, I think it's really, really important. And I've actually done some work around this that I'm trying to make into some, I don't know, an ebook or whatever about
okay,
tactics of
yeah,
um, doing exactly what you've just said, analyzing. And there's more to just like putting in for a race and going racing. You've got to use your strengths and your weaknesses. So I think that is a very good point that you made. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
very astute that you look at it like.
yeah. Yeah, you do look at it, and you can see where your weaknesses and your respective strengths are as against other people. And it's when I started, I guess I'd look and say, right, that was a 2.5 hour triathlon, for example. That's how long it was. But actually, it's much deeper than that. You need to look at where was my swim, where am I on the bike, and particularly for an athlete like me. where I know I'm going to lose time and places on the run, and just know what I'm going to do. So I've got to be able to maximise where I'm going. I think then when you start to look at GB qualification, the way the system is, you can use that to your advantage and make sure. So for me, pan flat course in wherever's flat, nowhere flat where I live. So it's not pointless, but I'm going to get my head kicked in by someone with tree trunks for legs.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
Mm.
But if I go somewhere hilly, that isn't the case. So you can start using it to your advantage a little bit. Particularly for the middle distance, long distance
Mm.
stuff, where you're looking at a percentage of the winner's time. Obviously, when it's standard distance try or sprint distance, you're on to whatever qualifiers are picked.
Mm.
But again, you can look at those, can't you,
Yeah,
and say, well,
100%.
am I going to go to T100 London? Well, probably not. I might try a different one, depending on which ones they pick and which particular whereabouts they are, where your calendar is, and where they are in the country.
Mm.
So there is a lot to analyse.
Mm.
Um, I'm on there's a group of us who've all aquabiked for GB. And yeah, the analysis that comes through that WhatsApp group is just absolutely insane. But it helps because you can literally shove in, what do you think about this? And there's always someone that knows something about the course, who's racing, how they've done in the past. So it is actually really useful, as
Yeah.
long as you remember to mute the group from time to time so you don't have 60 odd messages flying around.
No, that's a great resource, to have that, to have those people around with the knowledge.
Yeah,
It's invaluable, isn't it?
of course it is. Yeah, just knowing what the course is like on the try or whatever. I've done most of the ones up north, but down south I wouldn't have done. So,
Mm.
if you're going to do that, then it's a different. You want to know as much intel as you can.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
and then when you go abroad, again, a lot of the circuits abroad have been done before.
Mm.
Um, you know, what Pontevedra must get used about 10 times a year, it feels like.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a popular, but they do
Popular
it really
spot.
well, don't they? You know.
Yeah, I've only been there once.
Yeah, me
I
too.
should, yeah, I should have done long distance out there this year. Um, and I was talking to you about mental health before we started. One of our best friends passed away suddenly in the week as I was going. So it was, yeah, not appropriate for me to be away from the family. No, I wouldn't have wanted to
Yeah,
do the race anyway.
yeah.
But I'd literally put my bike in the bike box the day it happened. That was the first thing, and then
Mm.
um, but again, coming back to how triathlon's good for your mental health, that's been one of the things that has certainly helped me to, I wouldn't say, come to terms with it, but to help mental health and to
Mm.
almost have that space to myself where I can just go run. And if I need to stop and have a moment, I've got that time. And
Mm.
being out in the fresh air in the middle of the countryside, these things are set up for us for a reason, I believe.
Mm.
That's, you know, um, so it definitely has helped over this, what's been a really, really difficult time over the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah. Well,
But you've got to find your things that help you, haven't you?
you have, yeah. Sorry to hear about that. Condolences.
That's all right.
It's tough, but yeah, I mean that sport's a great thing for that to get you through whatever you need to get through, and the people
Yeah.
around you within that, as well as your family,
Yeah.
you've got that other family,
So,
if you like, that other crutch of support, that are also there for you. I find anyway, and
yeah,
it's a good thing.
absolutely. And I think the best thing about triathlon for me has been the people that you meet. You know, the, I was talking to a guy just at the school gates. I've not seen him for ages. I used to work with him 20, 30 years ago. And then he took up triathlon, ex-Royal Marine, brilliant guy. Um, hasn't continued with it, wanted to do Ironman and finish fine. But he was saying, oh, you're still doing triathlon. And he said, do you know, it's the only sport I've ever seen where the winner is just as gracious as the person that comes last and is just as happy to see them do well. Um, and it's true, isn't it?
Mm.
One of my friends from the club often talks about finish
Mm.
lines, not finish times, and I think that is so
Mm.
relevant and so it resonates with me because it's the camaraderie is just
Yeah.
just brilliant, and you see it in races. You see people stopping to lend a hand and making sure people are all right when they're punctured at the side of the road. I mean, I've done it where I've given people inner tubes.
Mm.
Well, technically, if the referee was there, they might get disqualified for that, might they? But you see it happen all the time, and it's really heartening to see. And I think for an individual sport, you do get the sense of being in a team and that everybody's trying to achieve the same thing. Um, and everyone's race is different, but I'm always really, really keen and find it important to make sure that I'm putting my arm around people or saying to people, keep going. We've all been there in races, when you're on the run and you're at 7K of a 10K and you think, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to get through this. And I think it's really important. And one of the best is makes me keep coming back to it
Mm.
year on year,
Mm.
because you're going to get that camaraderie and you're going to see you see people. And one of the privileges of racing age group is I meet people abroad who live in this country. I've never seen them in this country, but I'll see them 2 or 3 times a year if I do two or three races for GB. I'll see them out in Portugal or in
Mm.
Spain or wherever, and it is just amazing to look back on.
Yeah. As we said, it's like a fam. That's like a family, another separate family, isn't it? The GB
Oh yeah,
team. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, and I think the thing about doesn't matter whether you're first or last. I think we appreciate how much work, how much hard work goes into this, how much time we spend, and that doesn't matter
yeah,
whether you're winning or you're coming last. You're still
yeah,
putting time in, and you're at that point in your life, aren't you, where that's all you've got, but you've given everything. Not only
yeah. I
in
think
the race, but in the training up to it. Or most people have. I mean,
yeah,
in an ideal
yeah.
world, most people have, but not everybody has. But that, and I think that's what comes across, doesn't it?
And people are genuinely facing the fears a little bit, particularly with some of the open water stuff.
Oh yeah,
It's scary. I mean, I've been doing it for years and years and years, and I still get that moment where I'm like, do I want to be in here?
yeah. I've had that several
So
times with guests on, and some of them are like yourself, background in swimming, and there's a couple of things. The first time they go into open water, it's like completely different to a pool, isn't it? And they freak
yeah,
out, and you think, but you're such a good swimmer. Why
yeah,
why you're freaking out? And then you get other people who've been doing it for years, and then all of a sudden, for no reason whatsoever, they have a panic attack in the
yeah,
open water. It's like it's really strange, isn't it, how these things affect you? And
yeah. I was absolutely fine for ages, and then I did would have been long distance aquabike in Slovenia.
mm,
Really windy day. The swim was in the Danube, which is an enormous river. Our age, we were set off in age groups, and there was probably only 20, 30 in our age group, let's say. Um, and what felt like massive waves. And I remember at one point, it's like an own bike. I couldn't see anyone, and I could just see a wall of water in front of me. And I've never felt it before, but I thought, how do I get out?
mm,
Um, and yeah, that was definitely the worst one. But that is where the swimming background helps. You trust your training, don't you? And
yeah,
great thing about triathlon. If you keep going, you'll finish it. It's only when you stop that you get DNF, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah. No, that's a great point.
Um,
Yeah,
so keep swimming. Eventually, you'll find a buoy because they're not going to let you not find a buoy. There's safety boats, so use a bit of logic here
mm,
and turn it. And again, because it was an out and back, turn around, waves behind me, bang, done. Thank yeah. I'm like, yeah, don't put me in that river ever again. Thank you very much.
yeah. Yeah, but it
um,
shows experience as well, isn't it? That you've experienced that, and I
yeah.
experienced a similar thing off the coast in Redcow. It was absolutely
Oh
horrible.
yeah.
Um,
Can imagine.
not being
Yeah.
not being the strongest of swimmers, it turned out the swim it was that bad. I think we only did about 400 meters instead of the 750.
Really.
But
Right.
it was. I remember being with one of my teammates who was in his 70s at the time. He's 80 now, and we were stood
Oh,
on the shore thinking we want it to be a duathlon, we want it to be cancelled. And then
cancel
the
the
women all
swim.
start running in, and we look
Yeah.
at each other and think, well, we're going to have to do it now, aren't we?
Yeah. We've no choice. Let's
Yeah,
jump in.
but it
Yeah.
does get you like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. yeah, since the experience I was telling you about in Slovakia, I've not Slovenia even. I've not been as good um, at open water swimming with that confidence, but it's coming back a little.
Yeah. Well, just the more you do
Um,
it again, isn't it? It's getting back into it and getting used to doing it, and it'll
yeah,
and it's remembering to breathe and stay calm. Like you said,
yeah,
you've got the ability. You know, you can swim. You're a good swimmer. It's just that, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Getting a bit of
the whole.
rationality, I think.
To be fair, the whole sport of triathlons up here,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it,
100%.
it, it definitely is because you can. I mean, one of the things that I quite often sometimes find myself doing is thinking, "Oh, they've gone past me. Damn, can't I need to go and catch them?" And the reality is that's the biggest mistake you can make, isn't it? You start trying to chase someone down, you've just got to run your own
Yeah.
race,
Yeah.
um, and that helps. I think when you've got lapped races, when you've got seeded starts rather than mass starts, I think that all personally, I find it helps. I get better results out of that because then I'm just focused on me and not someone else. Unless, of course, it's a club mate, and then that's everything goes out the window.
Yeah.
They're
All
not
better
beating me.
off.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Cool.
absolutely.
So, like we said, you got into age group. How did that progress? You had people in the club. So where did that?
Yeah, obviously I'd seen that we had some people in the club, but I was nowhere near the standard. It was only when I did Lakesman 2018 and I got off the bike and there was a number of bikes there, but there wasn't as many as I was used to seeing. So I got on, started looking at research, thinking, well, could I qualify for Aquabike? Right, you need to be within 115 or 120% of the race winner. And did Lakesman again 2019, focusing on swim and bike, and I'll just do what I can on the run
Mm,
because I thought, well, I want to get into that aquabike. In my mind, I wasn't good enough for a full triathlon at that standard. So qualified as for the middle distance aquabike in 2020, which should have been in Austria. Should have is doing a lot of lifting there because, of course, everything got cancelled.
mm,
So I was really tough to take, to be
mm.
honest, because obviously it had been a dream since I started racing triathlon, and had been a realistic dream for maybe 12, 18 months. And then of course I got the qualification. I booked the spot, booked the hotel, and started recceing the route online and everything. Um, but as it turned out, there was quite a bit of waiting to do. And ultimately, despite me saying, "Oh, I'm only good enough for aquabike," I'd actually managed to qualify for Valencia standard distance,
Right.
partly because they had to change the criteria for qualifying because they couldn't have any qualifiers in 2020. But you could use a race for 2019, you could use your winner's time, and I'd done Chester try, it must have been, and I was within the time, so I just chucked it in. It was a 10 of them, wasn't it? So, you know what? I don't think I'm going to get in this. Um, and yeah, managed to by hook or by crook. I rely on roll downs for everything. I'm not good enough to be.
Same.
It's not just me. Not good enough to be kind of top three most. Well, unless it's a tiny race, I suppose it might be. But so yeah, chucked it in, qualified for that, and I was like, this is amazing. So that would have been September 2021.
Mm.
Brilliant. Family are coming out a lot. August 2021. Um, we're on holiday in Wales, and I take my bike. We're still training. All right. Oh, what about passports? We've not been away for a while, have we? Oh, my daughter had expired. So mad panic. Right, let's put this application in. We had 3 weeks, 4 weeks tops before we were going. Didn't turn up, didn't turn up, didn't turn up. And literally, so the kids were going into school and then we were flying in the evening. Take the kids into school. Is the post come? No, 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 it's not come. And then the TNT guy arrives at the back door. I think my wife was going to hug this poor
Oh.
with his passport. So literally on the day we were flying out, my daughter's passport arrived, which meant they could come as well. So it was, yeah, very stressful experience. And then got out to Valencia and strained my calf walking around, literally just walking to registration. So it wasn't going to be my greatest race, but actually taught me a lot about racing for GB in the sense that because I didn't have a good because I knew I couldn't perform really, really well on the run, I thought, right, well, let's just enjoy it.
Mm.
And I've said to a number of people over the years now at GB races, these races aren't to stress yourself out about. These are the celebration of what you've achieved. You do well, brilliant, but your qualifiers stress about them, stress about getting in the team. But when you get to the championship day, unless you're Donald Brooks
Yeah.
or someone that good, go and enjoy it. Do the best you can, but look up, soak it in. You might never do it again.
Yeah.
Which is another common phrase in our house. So, Rach, I'll have to go. I might never qualify again. It's
Love it.
wearing out a bit. It's
Yeah,
wearing
love
out
it.
a bit after 9 championships, but
Yeah.
I'm still saying it. Um, but and that's really taught me to.
Mm.
I've got more out of it, but it's really taught me to enjoy it because so much with triathlon to worry about before a race. You know,
Mm.
there's so many variables. But if you know you're going to go and put in a good performance and enjoy it, then great.
Yeah.
And I think from a racing perspective, I'm not going to jinx it by saying everything that can go wrong I've had experience of, but I've had an experience of a lot. So I did Bilbao middle distance aquabike in 2023, diving in start, brilliant, fantastic, dove in, goggles gone. 1.9K swim in a river without goggles is not what you're looking for. But funnily enough, I had one of my best times for 1.9K and best sighting I've ever had. I was properly straight.
Goggles so overrated.
Yeah, yeah. I was slightly relieved when I woke up the next morning and I could still see, because you don't know what's in that water, do you?
True, true.
Um, so, I think you've got to enjoy it. And I do look around at races at all levels, and I'm nervous before every race start. It doesn't matter whether it's a sprint pool triathlon or a European champ. So it doesn't matter. I'm still nervous, but I look around at some people and think, well, you've lost half the energy you've got by worrying and being so nervous too before you've even started. So,
No, 100%. I always say we've got quite a few people in our club who have raced for age group and new ones coming through. And I say you've done all the hard work by
mhm.
qualifying. And
Yeah,
like you said, unless you've got a good chance of winning, just chill out. Just enjoy
yeah,
the whole experience because like you also said, you might not get to do it again.
no,
So just just enjoy every moment that you're out there. And to be
yeah,
honest, we go out there now and we take it as a holiday with a race.
yeah,
That's how we
yeah,
look at it now. Both my wife and myself both race.
yeah. Okay,
That's how we do it. We just
yeah,
where's the race? Do we want to go there for a holiday? Yeah, we'll do that. And
yeah, and
just yes, and like you, very nervous, but it's good nervous energy to get you going.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
thing.
You need that.
It's not like gonna freeze you on the line sort of thing. It's
No,
that because that's
yeah.
not good
What
for anybody.
I went to Ibiza doing long distance aquabike world champs, and that was just one of the best weekends and little holidays that we've had as a family.
Yeah,
It was just a brilliant place to go. The kids absolutely loved it. Um, on the beach, in the sea, but in the middle of it, Daddy went and raced, and it's like,
that's it.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah.
And they can't come out every time. It gets ruinously expensive for a family of four to go
Mm.
wherever it is you want to go, really. And they don't always want to. Although my son is 9, he did his first triathlon last year, pool triathlon. So he's getting the bug now, and
And I was going to say that this earlier, but it's so good. I mean, you've got a couple of young kids, and it's so good for them to see the dad. That's
oh,
that's one of the biggest reasons to never stop doing it.
the other thing is it normalizes the exercise for them.
Yeah,
So, my lad Magnus is just, oh, you've been for a run, you've gone out on your bike. It's just a normal thing
yeah,
for them to see. We haven't been on a holiday in this country where we don't take bikes, and it's just normal for them.
mm,
95% of the population don't do what we do. And it's good. And I mean, Magnus rolled the Guild Wheel in Preston when he was 7 years old, which is 21 miles off and on, and he didn't stop.
yeah,
So I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, this kid's gonna be as crazy as me if I'm not careful.
Well, it's a good crazy though, isn't it? You know, that's where you want
Oh
them
yeah,
to be. You don't want them to be
yeah.
stuck in the bedrooms and not doing anything, and
No, no,
you
no,
know,
no.
not knowing
He
what
wants a
they're up
time
to.
trial bike now. And I'm trying to tell him they don't really make them for, for
Yeah,
9, 10 year olds
yeah.
yet.
Few years yet, son. But it's brilliant. Do you watch the sport as well?
Yeah, if it's on, I watch cycling more than I watch
Yeah,
triathlon.
yeah.
I watch a lot of cycling, although obviously this year it's gone behind a paywall, so that's been frustrating. But yeah, I'll definitely watch like the Worlds, Ironman Worlds. I
Yeah.
watch that, and two or three from our club were out there actually in Nice,
Yeah.
so that was good to see. I saw one of them on the run going past Christian Blumenfeld. I was like, oh wow, that must have been brilliant.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'll watch it when it's on. But I will, sport's always on in our house anyway, so it's just let's see what we've got today.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Like again, it's a great environment, isn't it, for them to be brought up in, and
yeah,
healthy.
I mean they've been coming to watch me race since they were in prams. It's normal.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they don't quite like the swim starts at 6 a.m., but
No.
they always turn up for the run.
Well, that's the main thing, isn't it? Get the glory at the
Yeah,
end when you cross the line.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if I look back now onto my photos, I'll have so many photos of them at different ages running across finish lines with me because a lot of places are fine with you doing that, aren't they?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
um,
brilliant. Really,
but they
really.
get bigger cheers than me.
Yeah. It's so good. So good. So what
Yeah,
did you
yeah, yeah.
do? What did you do after Bilbao?
The races I've done for GB were bizarrely the first two were standard distance tries. So
Right.
I did Valencia, did all right, but I wasn't pulling any trees up. I'd done a qualifier. I'd done Southport as a qualifier that year, um, and found out whilst I was on an all-inclusive holiday in Lanzarote that I'd qualified for the Euros in a place called Olstyn in Poland,
Okay.
again standard distance try. Um, so that was my next one, but that was almost a surprise race because I knew that I was doing Bilbao and I knew I was doing Slovakia that year, long distance and middle distance aquabike. So I ended up doing three races in one year that
Wow.
year, um, which was great, but a lot.
Mm.
So I'd kind of promised Rachel, my wife, well, don't worry, next year's not going to be as, and I'm not going away three times next year. Um, and the year after, I had planned out to do the Worlds in Ibiza, which we all went out to. That was absolutely brilliant. I had standard distance aquabike I qualified for in Pontevedra. And then I snuck in with a roll down to do standard distance try in Madrid. So I ended up doing three again in a year, which was probably three, at least too many. I mean, it was great, and Pontevedra is a great place to race, as we said. It's pain to get to, but it's actually really well put on how they do it. And then last year I did middle distance aquabike in Coimbra in Portugal,
Mm.
um, and probably thought I wasn't really going to do much this year at all.
Mm.
So I was going to head out to Pontevedra for the long distance aquabike. I presumably qualified for that. No, I did qualify for that at Lakesman. By that time, Lakesman have introduced an aquabike race now.
Oh, that's
So,
handy.
yeah. To be fair to them, they've marketed it really well because they've introduced it and said, use this. Do you want to be a GB athlete? Come and do our aquabike, and you can
Yeah.
use this as a qualifier, which is really
Brilliant.
sensible
Yeah.
thing to do. Um, and obviously suits me because I knew that's what I wanted to use it for as a qualifier. And if it's the actual race and I don't have to get a DNF on the run,
Mm.
brilliant. Um, so I qualified for Pontevedra, but obviously with my friend passing away, he couldn't go to that. And I'd kind of written this season off, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I'd done um, I'd done some qualifiers the year before. I'd done Llandudno in September, right at the back end of September, when, according to the race organisers, the Irish sea's at its warmest. Liars. It's just, it'll not be funny. On the 29th of September, the Irish Sea in Llandudno is not going to be warm. And but I would say, despite that, brilliant triathlon because it's
Yeah.
closed road. It's one of my best friends lives out in Ross-on-Sea, so it's near London. So it was down as a qualifier, so I put my tenner in. Went down to stay with those friends on a bender Friday night, on it Saturday as well during the day. I did go to bed early. So as you can probably appreciate, not really thinking I was going to be able to get in the team, but wanting to enjoy the race anyway. Had a swim, so cold coming out, couldn't time a late, couldn't put my shoes on. My friend who I was with us, literally howling, laughing at me in transition, watching me fumble around with his shoes. Um, I knew quite a few that were there as well from my age group from racing GB. So I'm like, right, this is not an easy field to qualify in here. I can see they're pretty fast. But bizarrely, having written kind of GB aspirations off for this year, I mean, I must have had 118%. So I thought, well, yeah, I've got the percentage I need, but there's going to be guys in front of me there. And I'll admit, I had a sneaky peek and saying, well, how many people do I need to drop out, sort of thing. But yeah, I found out late on, can't remember exactly when, oh, you are in for Istanbul if you want to pay your money. Um, and I was definitely in two thoughts about whether to go. A, it was expensive. B, we had a family holiday coming up to Malta immediately before it.
Mm.
So I knew I wasn't going to be in great shape. But you might never get the chance again. Um, so I started reading about the race, which is you should never do that if you think you're not going to do it. And the swim was in the Bosphorus, so I thought that's pretty cool. They don't let you do that. They shut the bridge between Europe and Asia, and we rode the bike along that. I mean, wow, that's something special.
Mm.
So my wife's very understanding, or just sick of me being around the house. I can't decide which. Um, so she said, "You should." And no, in fairness, she's always supported it. Go for it. You want to do it, go for it. We'll come if we can. If it's too expensive, just go on your own. We'll do it that way. And with a friend of ours passing away, I wasn't motivated to train, but you only get one chance. So
Yeah.
signed up and went out there in last weekend of August, and funnily enough, finished the highest I've ever finished in a European champs. So it just goes to show what we were saying about fitness not necessarily going that quickly, and the camaraderie was brilliant. I've never been more nervous before a race because I knew I wasn't ready, and the swim. They're giving it this. Oh, there's a massive current in the Bosphorus. If you catch it right, you'll fly. But if you don't get out at the right time, you're going to fly right past the pontoon where you get out. Right, okay, that's slightly scary if I'm honest with you. There was no current in the end, but they'd lengthened the swim to 2.4 as opposed to 1.5 that we normally have in standard distance. So another 900 meters. That's a
Yeah, yeah.
big
That's
difference.
massive, isn't it?
Huge. But with swimming being the best bit for me,
Mm.
absolutely played right into my hands in
Yeah.
the end. Because instead of a 25-minute swim, it'd be like a 40-minute swim, for example. It's a lot of time for someone to catch me up on a bike and a run, a lot of time to make up. And I have to say, one of the best feelings I've ever had in triathlon, running into that finish line. Amazing.
Mm. Nice one.
Uh,
Nice one.
well, actually, the last lap when I knew I was going to finish. I passed two guys who were in my age group, and you'll know from doing age group racing that you see you've got the tattoo, so you see which age group they're on the back left calf. I was like, past them, I thought you guys can't catch me because you're not unless you've got some sprint on you here, you're not catching me. And you know yourself that you can keep a certain pace, and yeah, just that last kind of 2-3K was like I was walking on air. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So super glad I did it in the
Awesome.
end.
Yeah.
And that's
Fab.
the last one I've done for GB so far.
Yeah. And what about for next year then? Have you got anything lined up? Did you try any
I've
qualifiers?
I was going to go to Southport, which was a qualifier again. So Southport's like 40 minutes away from us.
Okay.
But I crashed my bike the week before, fractured my sternum.
Ooh.
Um, it's one of those. It's like ribs; they can't do anything for you.
Yeah.
But bizarrely enough, swimming was the thing that hurt. So I
Right.
could get round on the bike and I could have run, but swimming, I wouldn't have been able to do 1,500 meters. Presumably because that's where the weight is pressing on you.
Mm.
So that ruled Southport out. I could have probably got into London, but it had sold out. So I just thought, you know what? It's just not meant to be this time.
Yeah.
So I'd done Lakesman again. That'll I'll find out in a week or two. That'll qualify me hopefully for middle distance aquabike in Spain and long distance worlds in Abu Dhabi. It's a reasonable chance. I can't remember what the percentage was, but should have a good chance of getting into those. And then make a judgment call depending on what we're doing family wise as to whether I go to either or both of those.
Cool. Cool. So you got
Um,
options.
got options, yeah. I keep flitting through. Shall I have a year off? But I know what'll happen come January. That's just going to be not what I want to do.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, you may as well
uh,
keep it rolling. I mean, you don't know what, like you say, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So while you're on a roll and you're enjoying it, just keep doing it.
you're only one injury away, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I've seen so many people that dropped in and out of the sport over the years, and a lot of people that I see and they say, "How do you keep going?" How would I not?
It's just
What
one
the hell?
session after another, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and
Like
what
we said earlier, it's a lifestyle. You know what I mean?
it is.
You're
Yeah,
doing all these different pieces of training within the week. So it's good to have some goal to
it's
all that energy and time that you've used to go and put it into action.
it's the structure, isn't it? And that's the thing that does it for me. We all have those moments, don't we, when we look out and it's absolutely raining. You've got to spend 2 hours on a turbo trainer, and it's no fun. But one of the things that really, when I started to get anywhere near the standard I needed to, this would be like 2018, I guess, and I was missing sessions and just playing at it is the way I put it. And I remember thinking, no, if you want to do this, you've got to treat it almost like work.
Mm,
This is not always going to be something you enjoy, but it's something you have to do.
mm,
And that was the key to me in the consistency. And actually, once you realize with training, and it must be the same for any endurance sport, but once you realize with triathlon, it's consistency that counts, not
yeah,
running a sub 20-minute 5K every now and then, or doing 1 week where you've done 25, 30 hours worth of training and then doing five the week after. I think once you realize that, and I don't think anyone can teach you that you've got to experience it because you don't listen. You think that monster training week's what I need. But once you realize that just having that consistency is the bedrock of everything, it does become so much easier. And yeah, great. If you've got time, let's make it a 15, 16 hour training week. But actually, as long as you're still backing that up with an 8, 10 hour week the week after, and you're keeping going, and for me, I'm always aiming to do 100 miles a week on the bike, kind of 40K on the run and 5K on the swim. If I can do that every week, well, it'd be amazing if I could. But
yeah,
if I can aim towards that every
yeah.
week, then I know that I'm going to be in a reasonable enough shape. Depending on who's there on the day, which comes back to our point about analysing results and start lists, isn't
Absolutely,
it?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's a big circle, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Well, that's
is.
a
It
great
is.
story. Thank you for
Cool.
sharing it. Um, we've got the quick fire questions, and then I'll
Okay.
let you get back to your day.
Yeah.
And the first one, as always, is what's your favourite bit of kit?
Favorite bit of kit has got to be at the moment my Fulham goggles.
Ah,
Yeah, those.
we've both got a pair. Mine have just
Yeah,
like one of the, the covers over the lens.
yeah.
It's just come off. We've got the original ones when the
Oh
first
yeah,
first model. Have you got the new
yeah.
ones?
Fulham two. Yeah,
Ah,
I've
yeah.
got
Did
Christmas
you have
present.
Did you have
This
the old ones?
no,
I
no.
just wondered
But I
what they were
found
like compared.
yeah, no. Well, yeah. Obviously, I found them brilliant for open water because they've got that function for sighting.
Lighting, yeah.
But what I've realised is I've not been putting the effort in the same in open water as I know I can do. But it's got the pace, so I've set it up for the pace, and I know it's coming up 150, for example. I'm like, well, no, I'm better than that. so it's pushing me on.
Yeah.
When I was saying in Istanbul about the current, I knew way before anyone else did there was no current because I could see the time in my eye. It's like, well, there's no current here at all. This is just normal pace. So
Mm.
that removed a lot of messing about searching for a current that I think other people did do. Well, no, they did do because I spoke
Yeah.
to them after the race.
Which must be
So,
tiring, mustn't it? I guess.
oh gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Everyone ended up so spread out because we're told about this thing that's going to absolutely make us fly, and it's 2.4K, so we need to find it. But having those really, really made a big difference to me on the day.
And I've never thought about using them for racing, to be honest.
No, it's been a game changer for
Yeah.
me because, I had spotted that as a weakness because I'm being slower in open water. A lot of people are,
Mm.
but it's psychology for me. And I know that if I can do 140, 144, then I'll be fine to get round a 1.9K swim, for example,
Mm.
and then push at the end. So it has made a difference.
Yeah.
Those,
They're definitely a game changer. I mean, we've we got the first iteration, and we've had them for ages and ages. And people,
yeah,
only this last week when I've been at the pool, I've had a couple of people saying, "What's on the side of your goggles? Is it a capra?"
yeah, yeah,
Then you explain to them and they go, "Whoa, that is amazing!" And
yeah.
they're just a game changer. They're just so good.
Yeah, they are, and it actually makes the pool swims easier because it gives you something else to look at,
Yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
does.
So
Yeah, keeps you entertained,
um,
doesn't it, as well as
as
informed.
much as you can be, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I think I push for better with them because it's
Mm.
almost like no, that was a 135 100 meter. Well, I can do a little bit better than that next time, and
Mm.
but you can pace it properly, and yeah, they're amazing, really.
Yeah.
God knows what science has gone into them, but they're pretty cool.
Incredible, incredible. You said that you're in a club and you've been coached
Yeah.
individually as well as coaches, obviously, at the club. What does a week of training look like then, if you break it down now?
No, October isn't normally a very heavy week,
Mm.
but the key ones for me are Monday do a turbo or an hour on the bike if it's nice weather, a little bit more in an evening during the summer. Try and get a strength session in. I've just started getting that in actually. Two swims a week, normally Tuesday, Thursday. Quite often I can manage a long ride on a Friday if work's not too busy. Um, I, I have a trade off with myself because I'll do a long ride Friday afternoon, but then I'll work an hour or two on Saturday to make up for it.
Mm.
But around everywhere in England, but particularly around Lancashire and the Northwest, you're playing games with the weather. So if I want to get out for a long ride, I've got to play that game a little bit sometimes. During the summer, when I'm doing a bit more volume, I'll try and get out a couple of hours on a Wednesday evening, for example, on the bike as well. A couple of runs in the morning. So a Tuesday morning run's a standard one for me. Bit of intervals, bit of stronger stuff. Long run at the weekend. That's again for me probably dead slow, but like an hour, hour and a half to up to 2 hours, just building that base up, and I'll be starting with that. And then another bike on a Sunday, just depending on what we've got on. That's ideal. Real life gets in the way of that all the
That's good.
time,
Yeah.
and where do the kids need to be? My daughter's just started playing netball at weekends. Where does she need to be, and all that. But I think that's fine. It's you've got to do everything. You can't live as a hermit, and you got. I think the thing is with triathlon, you've got to accept some of your mates are going to be firemen. They can do 20, 30 hours a week training as well as the day job, and that's just life. And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
So,
But the thing is, when your kids are growing up, it's so, that time's precious as well. You know what I
oh
mean?
gosh, yeah,
You
yeah,
hats off to people like you who are doing it now. I mean, I never did
yeah,
any. We were that busy running the kids around and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
I used to get out on a bike, and that was about it. Maybe do the odd run. I was never into triathlon or any multi-sport till
yeah.
the youngest one was 18, and he'd finished playing football. So hats off to anybody like you who manages to actually do this sport and have two kids that need looking after and, be
Yeah.
involved as a parent because it's just amazing, I think.
And I
Um,
am really lucky in that work support what I do as well,
yeah,
in terms of bits of flexibility here and there and going off racing. It's not a place where it's, oh, you're skiving off. It's a place where, oh, brilliant, well done, great for you. go and inspire people. So I am lucky from that perspective. Um, I mean, I take the rough with the smooth. If I have to be doing work, then work comes first during the
Course.
week. Of course, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
But genuinely, I say 90% of the time I'm supported to do things. I mean, it helps that I arrange a couple of charity events for work. So I arrange a 100-mile bike ride for our firm charity, which goes around all our offices. So I arrange that every year, which is always good. Do I have to have a bike to do it? I've been asked that a few times. It's a long way without one. And I arrange a half marathon that we do, which is coming up actually in a couple of weeks' time. So I've got 53 colleagues running half marathon on a Wednesday in Lancashire, so in November. So let's just pray for the weather. So I give a little bit back where I can.
Excellent. What's the best bit of advice you've ever been given?
Sounds a simple one, but run your own race.
Yeah, good.
Don't be chasing others. Just run your own race. There's only you to beat, basically, and it's right. There's always one of the things I always say to people. There's always some old guy that's going to be faster than you, and you're going to hate it, but it doesn't matter. There's always going to be that person. So I've very much taken to focus on my times, and but it's a friendly rivalry with people. Of course, there is. Adam, who you've had on the podcast previously, I think beat me by about 5 seconds in Bilbao, which stung. But I didn't have those 5 seconds in the tank, so it's fine, and that running your own race is just the most important thing. That and enjoy it, because I see so many people that don't enjoy it, and I think, especially now you've paid £100 minimum to enter, you're probably staying in a hotel the night before if it's a big race. Come on, make sure you get the most out of it.
100%. Yeah, they're very wise words. Yeah. And we've talked about your short goals, obviously Abu Dhabi and what was the other race you said potentially?
It's in Spain in Banyoles, middle
Oh,
distance
yes,
aqua.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's your longer term goals?
The tricky one, that. To keep going is probably number one. There's a couple of races that you think I'd love to do those. I've never done Ironman distance, so that's in the back of my mind, but I'll have to wait. It's only fair to wait until the kids are a bit older, because I'm sure I could go and get round and suffer. I could probably get that out of the way, and shuffle around the marathon, but I'm not going to do that. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it properly.
Sure.
And I have to say, having spectated at Ironman Wales 2 or 3 times, that looks pretty awesome. So that might be something in the future, but I'm not desperate. I'm not desperate to do it. I think you've got to, from looking and talking to other people, they sacrifice such a lot to do Ironman and do it well, and hats off to them. But I do wonder, is that at the detriment of other races that you could do? And I'm doing this half as prep for the Ironman. It's like, well, do this half as good doing this half, So yeah, I've been really, really lucky with what I've managed to achieve. I've never, for one moment, thought I'd be able to represent GB at any level of sport. I always remember a PE teacher literally picking me up on a cross country run in his car and just said, PE is not for you asthma boys, is it?
Thanks, mate.
I know, you imagine him saying that now. But he was right, so I never thought I was ever going to be anywhere near good enough to do
He
what I've
wasn't
done.
right, was he?
Oh no, absolutely not. He was at the time. I was quite happy to be picked up. It was freezing. Real bucket list, and I will never put any pressure on him to do it. If my son gets into triathlon, which he's banging on about all the time at the minute, for us both to race GB at the same time, that'd be something special. Awesome. But yeah, that'd be bucket list time. But hey, who knows? With that, he's 9 years old. He loves it. He absolutely loves it. He did a duathlon this year. There's just not that many kids races around. So, if that ever happened, that'd be a pinch me moment. But if it doesn't happen, it's fine. He's got to tread his own path.
It's a nice one to think about, and it's a great ending to this podcast. to visualise you and your son
Absolutely
racing together. So once again, thank you ever so much for spending your time chatting to us today.
No, thank you.
Much appreciated. It's great to meet you. And I'll
you.
let you go now and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. Really enjoyed it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and a big thank you to Jonathan for coming on and sharing that. And lots of food for thought there. How sport helps us mentally, also from a family point of view, inspiring your kids. Lots to take away from that, I think. And yeah, congratulations on what you've done so far, Jonathan, and what you continue to do. So good luck with it all. So thank you once again for taking your time out to listen to our podcast. If you've enjoyed it, please do share it with others. Even one training mate would be appreciated, because that's how we grow the age group community. If you're an age group who's representing your country and you listen to this podcast and you would like to come on, like Jonathan has, and inspire and share your story, please do get in touch. You can get in touch via email at agegroupmultisportpodcast@gmail.com. You'll find us on Instagram at amp_podcast. We're on Facebook as Richard Joseph Conway, and we have our own YouTube channel, as I mentioned earlier, which is AmpGB. So please do get in touch. Any comments, any questions? I'd love to know what you're training for over winter, how you've mixed up your winter training like I'm doing. That would be really useful for me going forward. I might be able to implement something that I haven't thought about, so that would be cool. And until next time, once again, thank you, and don't forget, stay safe, keep training, and love the process.